Please rise, ladies and gentlemen. The 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan is now convened for its 71st regular session. The Honorable Vice Governor Adeline M. Angeles presiding.
The 71st regular session of the 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan is now called to order. Requesting the Honorable Gentleman from Mogpog, Honorable Mangkukang, to kindly lead the invocation to be followed by the national anthem.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Eternal God, Father Glory, we praise and thank you for calling us to serve your people. We acknowledge your Lordship in everything, and we thank you for being in control of all the things in our lives and the overflowing blessings we receive from you. We give thanks as you bless this august chamber. May the growth of your people in holiness be the eternal joy of our shepherds. May we see the hope to which you have called us, keep within us the wisdom and love you have revealed in your Son. This we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit now and forever. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y umay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka lang magiliw, sa manlulupi, kita masisingin, sa lalat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo kamay. Nagilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang nilaman, ang kisap ng watawat mo'y nabuhay na nakikinig, ang bituin ng parang niya kailan ang pag-ibig. Parang araw na maraming pagsip ng lalaki sa dito. Aming ligaya na patay mamagin, at namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Requesting our secretary to kindly call the roll.
Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes, Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III, Honorable Bernardine Opis Mercado, Honorable Mel Gabal Arencabo, Honorable Mercedes Arihano, Honorable Danilo Arred, Honorable Ismael D. Pilim, Honorable Jose Neril L. Manggol, Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada, Honorable Bertinos A. Valencia. Madam Presiding Officer, with the 11 members of the board present, we have the necessary quorum for this afternoon session.
The chair then declares the presence of quorum. We can proceed with the order of business. The Honorable Floor Leader, Honorable Leva, is recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, for the reading and adoption of the minutes of the previous session, may I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes and consider the same as having been read without prejudice to the corrections to be made by the members of the board. I so move.
Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the reading of the minutes is now dispensed with. We can proceed directly to the correction. Any correction from the floor? Yes, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, I move that we approve and adopt the minutes of the 70th regular session of the 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan dated January 12, 2024.
Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Limpiada, Honorable Mangkukang. Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The minutes of our January 12, 2024 session is now adopted.
We now go to the matters arising from the minutes. As I have mentioned earlier, Madam Presiding Officer, I withdraw my intention to read the report of the Committee of the Whole because it will be subject to some revision.
Okay. So, supposedly that's in the matters arising.
Yes, Madam
And
President.
okay, the manifestation of withdrawal of intention is being considered.
For the approval and amendment of the agenda, for today's agenda, we don't have any privileged speech, we don't have question hour. For the messages and correspondence from the governor, we have 3 items. For the communications and petition, we have 2 items. For the municipal ordinances, for review of the board, we have 3 items. For the proposed ordinance, we don't have any. We don't have proposed resolution. We have 1 committee report, no unfinished business, 2 business for the day item, and 1 no unassigned business, and no proposed ordinance and resolution for third and final reading. Madam Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of the agenda for the 71st regular session of the 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan without any amendment. I so move.
Any second to the motion of the Chair of the Committee on Rules? Duly seconded. Any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The agenda for today's session is now approved without amendment.
We now go to the agenda. We don't have privileged speech. We don't have question hour.
Yes,
Madam
Honorable
Presiding
Leva.
Officer, we don't have any proposed ordinance nor proposed resolution. For the committee report, may I ask to recognize the committee chairperson of the Committee on Health and Nutrition for committee report number 317-2024.
Yes, the Chairperson of the Committee on Health and Nutrition, Honorable Bernadine Opis Mercado, is recognized.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Committee Report Number 317-2024, Committee on Health and Nutrition. Subject, Proposed Ordinance Number 16-35, entitled An Ordinance Institutionalizing the Mental Health Care Services in the Province of Marinduque, establishing mechanisms and guidelines for its implementation, adopting certain provision of Republic Act Number 11036, appropriating funds therefore and for other related purposes. Referred to the herein reporting committee was proposed ordinance number 16-35 as above titled, and taking action unto said referral. A committee hearing was held on October 26, 2023. The result of which is being presented to this honorable body through the presiding officer for its consideration and appropriate legislative action. Present during the said hearing are the following: committee members, Honorable Bernadine Opis Mercado and Honorable Aurelio J. Leba III. Resource persons, Dr. Rachel Rowena R. Garcia from DOH, Mr. John Patrick J. Bardilosa, DOH, Dr. Melanie R. Mendoza, DepEd, Ms. Kim Luzette S. Maming, DepEd, Dr. Vincent R. Lee Bertuccio, Santa Cruz Dixis Hospital, and Dr. Annette Macayaon, Marinduque Provincial Hospital. Initial recommendations. In Section 5, composition of Provincial Mental Health Board, instead of representative from National Center for Mental Health, it should be representative from Department of Health, thus Marinduque Provincial Office. Number 2, Dr. Junani Saho, the only psychiatrist in the province of Marinduque and even in the Intermimaropa region, shall also be a member of the Provincial Mental Health Board. 3. In Section 7, thus B, mental health care services, the mental health care system approach should be from down to the top. Hence, the provision of the said section should be amended through the help of the DOH Marinduque Provincial Office. 4. In Section 8, psychiatric, psychological, and neurologic services, under Item A, outpatient hospital care, the rural health unit and municipal health office shall have online consultation services, and if needed, may then refer the patient to the MPH, particularly to Dr. Saho. This is in consideration that MHO personnel have undergone training on mental health services, and so as to avoid the volume of patients under Dr. Saho. 5. In Section 9, promotion of mental health and public awareness. Instead of public awareness, it should be public literacy. It is important that family members, particularly the parents, are trained and knowledgeable about the early signs of mental problem. The guidance counselor or guidance designate should also be trained as mental health personnel. 6. The MPH should consider in its health facility development plan the establishment of a psychiatric ward. Recommendation. Considering the importance of the inputs from Dr. Junani Saho in the improvement of the context of the ordinance, a follow-up committee hearing should be conducted inviting for the purpose the following: 1. Dr. Junani Saho. 2. DOH Marinduque Office. 3. Department of Social Welfare and Development. 4. Provincial Health Officer. 5. Provincial Social Welfare and Development Officer. 6. Municipal Health Officers. 7. Rural Health Unit Officers. 8. Guidance Counselors. And 9. BHW Association Representative. Respectfully submitted, yours truly as chairperson, concurred by Member Honorable Mercedes Arejano, Honorable Mark Julius Caballes, Honorable Aurelio J. Leba III, Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III, and Vice Governor Adeline M. Angeles.
Thank you, Honorable Mercado. So there's no final recommendation yet. There will be follow-through committee meeting.
Yes po, there will be a follow-up meeting.
Thank you. So what is now the pleasure of the reporting committee chair?
I move for the adoption of the committee report number 317-2024 on Committee on Health and Nutrition. I so move, Mr. Presiding
Thank you,
Officer.
Honorable Mercado. There is a motion for the adoption of the committee report as rendered. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Committee report number 317-2024 of the Committee on Health and Nutrition is now adopted.
We now go to the calendar of business. We don't have any unfinished business. For the business for the day, may I ask the Secretary to please read the title of proposed ordinance number 16-36.
Proposed ordinance number 16-36, an ordinance requiring government procuring entities in the province of Marinduque to provide information to the end user about the infrastructure project to be implemented within the end user's territorial jurisdiction and for other purposes, authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leba III, Chairperson of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Land Use and Urban Planning and Development.
May this representation be recognized for the sponsorship of the said measure.
This is for second reading.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer.
Is there any more need for further deliberation?
I move to open the period of interpellation and debate.
Yes, any deliberation from the floor?
I just want to
Okay,
highlight, Madam Presiding Officer, that based on the original draft of the ordinance, we have some amendments from the committee, like the from 7 days it was extended to 15 days as recommended by the DPWH, and the provision of the clause provided that a reasonable fee may be levied to cover the necessary cost of reproduction and copying of the information required and ensuring that such fees are not so burdensome as to defeat the purpose of this ordinance. Likewise, the clause in accordance with the Civil Service Commission revised rules and regulation on administrative cases as recommended by the Department of Public Works and Highways.
So all recommendations of the DPWH in the adopted report is already included?
Yes, Madam Presiding
Okay.
Officer.
So with that, no more further deliberation?
Madam Presiding
It's all
Officer, may we
yes.
move for the closure of the period of debate and interpellation.
The period of debate and interpellation is now closed. Proceed, Honorable Leva.
I move for the opening of the period of amendment.
Let it just be noted in the record that this particular item has went through tedious and long deliberation at the committee level.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer.
Yes,
And
Honorable Leva.
we have invited various stakeholders, including end users, Madam Presiding Officer, during the committee hearing.
Okay, and with that, siguro nalilimutan nating banggitin, we will request Marinduque News Network to start video recording also important committee hearings para nakikita rin ng ating mga constituency that serious legislative measures like this, bagaman at wala nang masyadong deliberation sa floor during the plenary, ay dumadaan sa masusing pag-aaral at the committee level where most of the board members are also attending. Yes, Honorable Leva.
May I move for the closure of the period of
The
amendment?
period of amendment is now closed.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I formally move that we approve on second reading proposed ordinance number 16-36 entitled an ordinance requiring the government procuring entities in the province of Marinduque to provide information to the end user about the infrastructure project to be implemented within the end user's territorial jurisdiction and for other related purposes. I so move.
There's a pending motion from the reporting committee chair on behalf of the joint committees for the adoption for the approval on second reading of proposed ordinance number 16-36. Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Mercado, Honorable Lim. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Proposed ordinance number 16-36 is now approved on second reading.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I ask the Secretary to please read the title of proposed ordinance number 16-06.
Proposed ordinance number 16-06, an ordinance localizing the implementation and enforcement by local government units within the territorial jurisdiction of the province of Marinduque, the Anti-Obstruction of Power Lines Act or Republic Act number 11361, providing penalties in violation thereof and for other related purposes, authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Chairperson of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Land Use and Urban Planning Development.
Yes, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I move for the opening of the period of interpellation and debate?
The period of interpellation and debate is now opened. Any concerns from the floor? Any other inputs with regard to this ordinance?
Likewise, Madam Presiding Officer, all the inputs contributed by the various stakeholders were already incorporated in the draft ordinance as provided for in various sections of this ordinance.
Okay, again, also for the record, nais nating linawin na ang ordinansang ito ay dumaan sa masusi ng pag-aaral at deliberasyon sa level ng committee, joint committees na tatlo: Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Committee on Land Use and Urban Planning, Committee on Energy and Public Utilities. At ngayon ay nasa plenaryo para sa further deliberation.
Likewise, Madam Presiding Officer, just for the record, we have invited representatives from the National Power Corporation, Marinduque Electric Cooperative, and representatives from DPWH, Provincial Engineering Office, and the 6 municipal engineers of the province of Marinduque.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Honorable Leva. What is now the pleasure of the sponsoring
I
chair?
move that we close the period of deliberation and debate.
The period of interpellation is debate is now closed, and we will proceed with the period of amendment.
I move that we open the period of amendment.
Any further amendment with regard to the proposed ordinance number 16-06?
Not an amendment, but let it be placed on record that the members of the Committee on Public Works, Infrastructure, Land Use, and Urban Planning and Development, and the members of the Committee on Energy be considered as co-sponsor of this ordinance.
Let it be noted, Sir James and the Secretariat. And the presiding officer wished to thank the different committees that worked on this. The Committee on Public Works, Committee on Public Utilities, Urban Planning, and as well as the Energy.
Madam Presiding Officer, I move that we close the period of amendment.
The period of amendment is now closed. And what's the pleasure of the
Madam
sponsoring
Presiding
chair?
Officer, may I formally move that we approve on second reading proposed ordinance number 16-07 16-06 entitled An Ordinance Localizing the Implementation and Enforcement by Local Government Units within the Territorial Jurisdiction of the Province of Marinduque, the Anti-Obstruction of Power Lines Act or Republic Act Number 11361, providing penalties in violation thereof and for other related purposes.
Any
I so move.
second? There's any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Mercado. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Proposed ordinance number 16-06 is now approved on second reading.
That's all for the business for the day. For the unassigned business, our unassigned business is the proposal of this representation to hold the session of the Sangguniang, the 76nd regular session of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan somewhere in Torrijos.
It is the venue of the landslide. Tama ba?
Tama po.
And it is also the, supposedly, there was an appropriation that we, there's a fund that we transferred also to the to the municipal government of Torrijos. So it will be good opportunity also to have an ocular of the proposed project, evacuation center project. Hanggang ngayon, as I was told, na andun pa rin yung mga nakatira, may mga nakatira pa rin doon sa existing in temporary evacuation nila. So it will be a good opportunity also to see the situation there, as well as the status of the evacuation project that we, as far as I can remember, that we partly fund. So there's a motion that we hold the session, Bocaleva.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer.
So any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Manggol, Honorable Dindin Office Mercado, for the holding of the session next Friday in Bayakbakin. So, any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Our next session will be held in Bayakbakin, Municipality of Torrijos. Same day, same time, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Ano pong time?
Tama
Or
na po siguro yung 1 o'clock kasi 7 o'clock naman po yung
7 o'clock, then we can make an...
How about that time, Madam Presiding Officer? Can we relax the...
The presiding officer will leave it to the body. What would you suggest? The proper attire. We will have the tree planting. Then
Casual.
Casual, Madam Chair, siguro. At ano tayo? Tree planting eh. Relative to tree planting.
casual, maybe in the tree planting, we will be in a tree planting attire. But to the session proper, paminsan-minsan lang tayo makikita ng ating constituency rin. Siguro, yung medyo
Casual, smart.
smart casual. And will it be a session or you want it to be a joint session?
Joint session with the
Probably
barangay.
with the barangay or with the municipal, could be joint session with the Sangguniang Barangay or joint session with the Sangguniang Barangay and the Sangguniang Bayan if they are interested. But we will make the necessary arrangement first.
Madam Presiding Officer, can we just have a session of the Sangguniang, then let it be included in the question hour, the punong barangay or the bayakbakin to say a piece.
Okay. In the question hour.
In the question
Maybe
hour.
an update on the status of the intervention being done
in that situation of their barangay, perhaps.
including other resource persons.
Yes, Madam.
And we may also consider in the agenda other concerns specific to the area.
Yeah. Okay.
Could be also specific to the neighboring barangay, as we may also invite other representatives from other nearby barangays as possible audience or resource persons as may be necessary. We will just leave it to the chairman or to the Committee on Rules to confer with the Secretariat and all concerned for the proper identification of the order of business or the agenda that may be included. Something that they could relate also.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Para yung ating pagbaba po ay something na medyo maramdaman na related sa kanilang concern. Thank you. Okay po ba yun sa body? Thank you po. Honorable Encabo, you have a suggestion?
They have previous schedule that day. Kaya nakapag-schedule na tayo ngayon. Yung venue, para po meron na. Kasi andun din yung trip-back na nakagamitin. Ito po ang procedure.
Opo. So we will request the chairman or the Committee on Rules together with our staff to make the necessary arrangement and to check the feasibility also of this plan. Yun nga rin lang ho, maybe we need to consider a tent or also sa labas talaga ito because their barangay hall during my last visit is also being used by the evacuees. So, pwede rin naman doon sa covered court din pala. Sige po. Noted, Honorable Encabo, and let it be noted by the Committee on Rules in the proper planning, initial planning, preparatory planning.
Thank you very much,
Honorable
Madam.
Encabo.
Madam Chair, that's all for an aside business. Madam Presiding Officer, in as much as proposed ordinance number 16-36 was approved on second reading without any amendment, I move that it be considered for third and final reading. I so move.
May the presiding officer be given the list of the members of the sponsoring committees for due recognition. The proposed ordinance 1636.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer.
So may the presiding officer be informed all again as to the membership of the Committee on Laws, Rules, and Ordinances of Public Works as well as the Land Use and Urban Planning.
Yan na pong co-authored.
Yeah, the co-authors. Sino po ang considered as co-authors? Honorable Leva?
Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes, Honorable Mercedes Riano, Honorable Darnino Alred.
Sorry. Dito pala. Okay. Yes, Honorable Leva, you may proceed with the formal
include as
motion.
member of the Committee of Public Works, Honorable Ismael D. Pilim. Wala po dito.
As co-author.
Apo.
Okay. Yes, you may now proceed with the formal
Madam Presiding
motion.
Officer, may I ask that the Secretary read the entirety of the proposed ordinance?
Yes, Sir James.
Proposed ordinance number 16-36, an ordinance requiring the government procuring entities in the province of Marinduque to provide information to the end user about the infrastructure project to be implemented within the end user's territorial jurisdiction and for other purposes. Authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Chairperson of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Land Use and Urban Planning and Development. Co-authored by Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes, Honorable Mercedes Arejano, Honorable Danilo Arred, Honorable Jose Neril L. Mangol, Honorable Baldomero Lumpiada, and Honorable Ismael D. Pilim. Section 1, titled, This Ordinance shall be known as an Infrastructure Project and Users Information Ordinance of 2023 of the Province of Marinduque. Section 2, Scope, This ordinance shall cover the procuring entities of all infrastructure projects to be implemented within the territorial jurisdiction of the Province of Marinduque. Section 3, Purpose. This ordinance aims to promote transparency and proper coordination by requiring the procuring entity to provide necessary information to the end user pertaining to the infrastructure project to be implemented within the territorial jurisdiction of the end user. Section 4, definition of term. As used in this ordinance, the terms letter A, end user, refers to the barangay, municipality, province, school, and other institution of which territorial jurisdiction the infrastructure project will be implemented. Letter B, procuring entities refer to the municipality, province, Department of Public Works and Highway or DPWH, Department of Education or DepEd, Department of Agriculture or DA, Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR, Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR, and the other entity is mandated to procure and implement infrastructure projects within the territorial jurisdiction of the end user. Letter C, necessary information, refers but not to be limited to the project title, specific location, scope of works, approved budget for the contract amount, contract duration, those that can be gleaned from the plans, specification, and program of works, issuance of certificate of completion, and certificate of acceptance. Section 5, required acts. Procuring entities shall be required by this ordinance to furnish program of works and necessary information to the end users within 15 working days upon the effectivity of the contract, and to provide other necessary information to the end user upon the request of the latter, provided that a reasonable fee may be levied to cover the necessary cost of reproduction and copying of the information required, and ensuring that such fees are not so burdensome as to defeat the purpose of this ordinance. Section 6, filing of the case. Appropriate case may be filed in court or any appropriate quasi-judicial body against the head of the procuring entity if the procuring entity is a national government agency, or against the head of the LGU Engineering Office if the procuring entity is a local government unit. Section 7, penalty clause. Any public officer or employee procuring entity who failed to comply with any required acts as provided in Section 5 of this ordinance shall be penalized by a fine of 5,000 pesos or imprisonment for a period of 10 days or both at the discretion of the court, provided that any public officer or employee who violates this ordinance may be meted with the administrative disciplinary action in accordance with the Civil Service Commission revised rules on administrative cases without prejudice to the filing of the appropriate civil or criminal action. Section 8, implementing rules and regulation. The Provincial Legal Office shall formulate the implementing rules and regulations within 30 days after the approval of this ordinance. Section 9, separability clause. Should any section of the provision of this ordinance be declared void and ineffective by final judgment of a competent judicial authority, the other provisions hereof shall continue to be in full force and effect. Section 10, repealing clause. Any ordinance, resolution, executive order, or issuances inconsistent herewith shall be deemed repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Section 11, effectivity clause. A copy of this ordinance shall be posted in 3 conspicuous places with the Marinduque Provincial Capital for 3 consecutive weeks and published in a newspaper of general circulation. This ordinance shall take effect on the day following its publication or at the end of the period of posting, whichever occurs later.
Madam Presiding Officer, I move that we vote on third and final reading through nominal voting.
Sir James to kindly facilitate.
Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes.
I vote yes.
Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III.
I vote yes.
Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III. Honorable Bernardine Opis Mercado. Honorable Melgabal Arencabo. Honorable Mercedes Arrijano. Honorable Danilo Arred. Honorable Ismael D. Pilim. Honorable Lucene Ril L. Manggol. Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada. Honorable Bertinos A. Valencia. Madam Presiding Officer, the result of the votation of the nominal voting, 11 voted in favor of the motion, no abstention, and no objection.
Thank you, Sir James. This is a very important ordinance, and with 11 members of the voting favorably, the chair declares proposed ordinance number 16-36, an ordinance requiring the government procuring entities in the province of Marinduque to provide information to the end user about the infrastructure projects to be implemented within the end user's territorial jurisdiction and for other purposes, authored by Honorable Aurelio Leva III, co-authored by Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes, Honorable Mercedes R. Rejano, Honorable Danilo R. Red, Honorable Jose Neril L. Mangol, Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada, Honorable Ismael D. P. Lim, approved on third and final reading.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I be recognized again, Madam Presiding Officer?
Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, considering that proposed ordinance number 16-06 was approved on second reading without any amendment, I move that we consider the same on third and final reading. May I ask the Secretary to please... May I ask for-
1606.
1606.
Again, requesting Sir James Solas to kindly facilitate.
May I ask the Secretary, Madam Presiding Officer, to read the title and the title of the sections only.
For the guidance of the Secretariat, it must be remembered that at the start of the referral of the concerned ordinance, there were still old membership of the committees. Now that we've approved the ordinance, there are some changes with regard to the membership of the committee. So the Secretary James is asking for guidance as to who will be considered as members of the sponsoring committee.
Madam Presiding Officer, the members who reported this out to the plenary are the old members. So let us consider first the old members of the committee.
Okay, is that the former members who initiated the studies and the committee dispositions on this? Is there any objection to that? So that will be the final advice. Okay, are you guided, Sir James? Thank you.
Madam Presiding Officer, since the ordinance is lengthy, may I ask the Secretary to limit the reading on the title and the title of the articles and sections only.
Proposed ordinance number 16-06, an ordinance localizing the implementation and enforcement by local government units within the territorial jurisdiction of the province of Marinduque, the anti-obstruction of power lines, or Public Act number 11-361, providing penalties in violation thereof and for other related purposes, authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Chairperson of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Land Use and Urban Planning, co-authored by
Energy at saka in public.
by the members of the
Committee on Public
Works and the Committee on Energy. Supply na lang ko na.
They were co-authors or sponsors?
Co-sponsors.
Co-sponsors.
Co-sponsors. Okay. Pahingi ng copy. Ang pangalan nila.
Be it enacted by the 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Marinduque in session assembled, Article 1, General Provision, Section 1, short title, which the ordinance shall be known as the Anti-Obstruction of Power Lines Localization Ordinance of 2023 of the province of Marinduque.
Of 2024.
Of 2024 of the province. Section 2, Purpose. Section 3, the legal basis. Section 4 is the definition of terms, which is the AOPLA, AOPLA-IRR, building official, hazardous activities, hazardous improvements, PLO certification, power line corridor or PLC, power line operator or the PLO, tall growing plants. Article 2, building permit requirements. Section 5, due notice to power line owner or operator prior to the issuance of a building permit. Section 6, issuance of a PLO certification delegated to the contractor. Section 7, authenticity of the PLO certification. Section 8, penalty on fraudulent acts. Section 9, integration of PLO certification requirements in the local building and building rules system. Article 3, notice and reportorial requirements for activities by the PLOs. Section 10, authority to conduct clearing activities to the PLOs. Section 11, exemption on permits and attached fees. Section 12, notification to the municipal and barangay governments. Section 13, other responsibilities of the LGUs. Section 14, responsibilities of the Philippine National Police. Article 4, violations, penalties, and liabilities. Section 15, violations. Section 16, unlawful act and penalty for building official. Section 17 is the penalty. Article 5, final provisions. Section 18, implementing rules and regulations. Section 19, implementing agency. Section 20, separability clause. Section 21, repealing clause. And Section 22, effectivity.
Madam Presiding Officer, I move that we consider the same for third and final reading through nominal voting.
And requesting Sir James to kindly facilitate.
Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes. Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III.
I vote yes.
Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III. Honorable Bernardine Opis Mercado. Honorable Mel Gabal Aren Cabo. Honorable Mercedes Arihano. Honorable Danilo Arred. Honorable Ismael D. Pilim. Honorable Jose Neril L. Manggol. Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada. Honorable Bertinos A. Valencia. Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballes.
Vote yes po.
Madam Presiding Officer, the result of the nominal voting, 11 members of the vote voted in favor of the motion, no abstention, and no objection.
Thank you, Sir James. With 11 members of the board voting favorably for the approval of proposed ordinance as presented on third and final reading, the chair then declares proposed ordinance number 16-06, entitled an ordinance localizing the implementation and enforcement by local government units within the territorial jurisdiction of the province of Marinduque, the Anti-Obstruction of Power Lines Act or Republic Act number 11361, providing penalties in violation thereof and for other related purposes, authored by Honorable Aurelio Leva III and co-sponsored by Honorable Jose Neril L. Manggol and all members of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Land Use and Urban Planning and Development is now declared approved on third and final reading.
Madam Presiding Officer, that closes our approval on third and final reading.
Madam Chair, may I move for the adjournment of this today's session?
Okay, the session is adjourned and our next session will be on January 26 at Bayakbakin at 10 o'clock in the morning.